Our previous video ended with a quick trip to the farm to get some of the row cover I have stored in the old cow barn. Now it's time to get back to the nights and weekends homestead, cover the squash seedlings to protect them from striped cucumber beetles, finish planting the brassicas and cover those to protect them from cabbage moths, and plant the peppers. I'm also hoping to get down to the lake for a big family dinner.
You cannot cut this stuff with a dull knife. It has to be sharp. I just changed the blade in this the other day, so perfect timing. Are 32 feet long, but I cut this about 40 feet. The reason for that is I like to use the quick tunnel hoops, and when you do that you're adding 3 feet to your length because you're going up 3 feet, and you have to have 3 vertical feet on each end. If you made it exactly 32 feet, you'd have open tunnels because you wouldn't be able to reach the ground. So I made it a little long so that I can use it on tunnels as well as on the ground. Right now, to start, it's okay to have them on the ground, just floating on the plants, and the plants will push them up. So I'm going to ball this up and put it underneath so it doesn't blow around and rip, but I don't want to waste it. So I made it extra long so that I can use it on hoops as well. I'm not going to stick these in the ground because I've got the row cover, and that stuff is really fragile and it's going to blow around and move. It's very light, so even the slightest breeze will ripple it, and anything sharp like this will rip a hole right through it. It's very delicate stuff. So what I'm going to do is actually put these down on the ground and lay them like this, and actually probably hill the soil up around these, because even that way, these little things, if they're laying on the ground, if the edge catches that, it'll rip right through it. This stuff's very expensive. It's plastic and I don't want to throw it away. I've had this for a while and saving it every year, and I'd like to keep up that trend for as long as possible so this doesn't go in the landfill. Drop my pencil.
Because I've temporarily mulched the squash seedlings with black plastic, I can use that to protect the row cover from the sharp corners and edges of my homemade recycled vinyl plant signs. I can also use some of the rocks that I put down to hold the plastic until the row cover was in place.
can't stress enough how delicate this row cover is, and it's very expensive. So even with the rocks, I have to be careful with those. These sort of flat, sharpish rocks with little jagged edges, I try not to use those for weights. Something like this even, it's got this little point on it, very sharp, not going to use that. This one's kind of nice and rounded, but it does have a couple of sharp points on it, so I'm not going to use that. So I have to be selective with my rocks, which is a little bit ridiculous, but I definitely don't want to rip this stuff. I would like it to last a very long time so I don't have to put it in a landfill. So I need to find some more round rocks. Luckily, there's no shortage around here. They're just all over the place. And I might try to get a wheelbarrow, because it's a huge waste of time to be walking back and forth with an armload of rocks. It's much better to just make one trip, bring everything where you need it, and put it out. So I think I have enough rocks, enough large round stuff with no points or edges here that I could finish off this project. I need to finish planting the kale and the other brassicas in amongst the Brussels sprouts. Before I cover those, we have really bad cabbage moths here, so I need to cover all that stuff. Get the basil plants out of there. I'm hoping we might go down to the lake tonight for dinner. I'm hoping I can get started on planting the peppers underneath this as yet to be covered little Quonset hut. But we'll see how far we get. First things first is I need to finish covering this squash so that it doesn't get destroyed by the cucumber beetles. All right, one more row of brassicas and then I'm done, and I can make the other signs for the rest of the things I'm planting now and cover everything. And then depending on what time it is, I'll either go have dinner or get started on the peppers. just back from dinner and I think I have enough time to plant the peppers before the sun gets too low in the sky. We'll see how it goes. Keep, huh? Well, that wasn't a bad day's work. Quite late now. 9:15, and that's not late, but definitely getting dark. I just planted basil, celery, and celeriac by the light from my phone. Pretty exhausted. That was a good full day. Coached a baseball game this morning with Marty and his team for a couple hours, and then pretty much came home and got to work. Planted out 6 varieties of squash, all of the brassicas. Not sure what else, I think that's it. Oh, the peppers. I planted the peppers this evening after dinner. Hey, bud. And I've got to make some signs for those. Those are all getting watered in. The peppers, the basil, and the celery and celeriac are all in the little hoop house with no cover on it. I think I'm going to head off to bed. Pretty late, pretty tired. Good day's work. Come on, bud, let's go ahead and go to bed.